of the 16 personalities quiz.
Really?
I had a question. I had a
Josh!
question jumping in
You're
there.
right. That's my.
I have a question.
Uncool.
I apologize.
God.
I got a question for both of you before we start to test again.
Okay.
Got any good etchy?
Oh my god.
Shut the fuck up. Okay.
Yeah, so
I'm not even acknowledging you beyond this statement saying that I'm not acknowledging you, so.
yeah, that's fair. Me and Cameron were just vibing to some Young Gravy.
Oh, baby.
I'm sipping on some Arizona tea, iced tea with some gin. You know,
Weird combo, but it works.
But it works.
We
It's
love
actually
it.
not bad.
We love that.
You know, not bad. You know?
We love
We're
that.
just vibing.
We are feeling the vibes tonight, so we're gonna keep it going. Okay.
Absolutely.
We were halfway through this test.
Halfway through.
When we left off, we were halfway through this test.
Last episode recap.
Fuck you. Okay.
Fuck you. This is for us.
Alrighty.
Back to
Wyatt.
this week's episode.
Yeah. Now this time on It's Anus Thing.
Let's talk about ourselves.
More.
More.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Speaking of, I suggested the podcast to a classmate, and he walks in, chill as day, and he
Chill as
looks at
day?
me, the teacher in front of the whole class and everything, and he says, "So, how's it's an anus thing?" And people gave him a look, and I'm like, "It's good, isn't it?" And he's just
Hell
like, "I
yeah.
loved it," and
That's
I was
what
just
I
like,
love. This
touched
is somebody
me in
I
the heart.
don't know.
People
Hey,
over
shout
here
out.
just like, yeah.
Man, where are the haters? I'm starting to get thirsty.
If you hate this podcast, keep it coming, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
If you hate,
Let's
that
go.
means you listening. Come
Hey,
on.
Whenever you run into enemies, that means you're going in the right direction in the video game. Let's go.
Oh my god, and you have to murder them. Okay. So let's just get right back into
it.
shit, bruv.
Bro,
I don't even know. That was like
got a leak
British
in Brum.
Keemstar?
She'd be a 10 if she went for the accent.
British Keemstar.
British Keemstar. I don't watch Keemstar.
All right.
Okay,
Who does?
all right.
Who does? It's 2023, Josh. All right. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. I'm going to say I value alone time more than I ever have in my life. But I still love group activities. They're my favorite.
I do. I love
And
group activities.
This would be impossible without the wonderful you two. So
See,
I have to say I'm a positive too. I would rather be
that's
around
fair.
others.
So I said +1, and I almost went with neutral because I value being around people as much as I value being by myself. However, I try to surround myself with people I find,
Enjoyable.
enjoyable.
quality.
Yeah, quality. People who push me to go further. People who push me to be a better me. You know what I mean? So I would say I'm a +1, and it's because I am very particular with the people I spend my time with. So I want to spend my time with the people around me. But that being said, I do very much value my alone time, and I'm okay with being alone.
Absolutely. I used to be +3 where I preferred it, Now I'm like, you know what? I need some me time.
You brought it down a little notch.
Yeah,
you know?
but even then, like if I'm alone in my office, I'm probably on Discord. So it's all
just
it's all the
waiting,
same.
just
Yeah,
with
just
the
vibe.
invitation. It's an open invitation.
Yeah, exactly. Just,
Absolutely.
I'm in the lobby,
Absolutely.
Alrighty. You become bored.
No,
Wyatt, you're so right.
Wow.
God, it's fine. I was thinking about Young Gravy.
I
was
know,
thinking
we were-
about-
we were
I'm
vibing
just-
to some
listen,
Young
man,
Gravy,
Okay, I'm
man,
pouring
it was-
myself more Arizona tea and Jim really quick
Nice.
while Wyatt answers
Yeah.
this question.
Oh,
Divulges.
it's
So
not going to
take-
take that long.
no, take your
That's
time.
fine.
Take
Don't
your
worry.
time.
I can talk about the next question.
okay,
Take your
Don't freak out.
So
Wyatt. Don't freak out. We got this.
Okay. It is negative for me. Negative purely because depends on the setting. If there's a bunch of people around, I prefer to be like alone, and I feel really alone when there's a lot of people, like more than 50. I'm just like, nope. I will sit in the corner alone, drink my drink, eat my.
Ass.
God damn it! You beat me to it because I wasn't
I
by
knew
the
you
mic.
guys-
I know.
But when there's fewer people around, I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely good. I want more of this all the time, and that's where I'm going.
I will definitely say that I do get energy from being around people, and it definitely does push me. But that being said, I'm also okay with being alone. All right. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. Oh, that's a disagree. -3, baby. Like, dude, I live in the theoretical. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know why you think the things that you think. I want to know why you believe this, and I want to have those abstract conversations. Absolutely. So definitely a -3 for me.
Okay, Wyatt, you got to fill more air if I'm filling up this
Yeah.
McCafe. Do you just want tea or do you want some gin?
Just half and half. Just
Gin.
a little
Half
bit.
and half. We're just gonna. It's like a 32 ounce, and we're just gonna do 16 ounces of gin. That would take the rest
No,
of the
no, I
bottle.
meant like half a cup worth.
No, we got
Oh,
it.
you spilled it all over the lid.
And I also
Um,
hate the fact that you're mixing gin into tea rather than tea into gin. That's a faux pas to me.
I like to float the gin.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, and I'm
I
drinking it through
hate
a straw too.
Ugh. Well, that'll be better for you then. The gin's at the top.
Homie, I'm literally drinking this out of my PewDiePie G Fuel cup. It's not a ceremonial drink. This
'Kay.
is not the fucking. What is it called, Wyatt? What's ceremonial wine called?
Oh, were you talking about Sacramento wine?
Sacramento wine. It's not Sacramento wine. I'm drinking it out of a G Fuel cup.
It's hilarious because everybody thinks Sacramento wine is special. It's not.
Is that wine that comes from Sacramento? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm watching. He's pouring. No. That's
Oh,
enough.
that's like a double shot at
Yeah.
most.
Well, that's all I wanted. That's probably more than I wanted.
You're fine.
But
We're literally at your house, Wyatt.
do I? Well, yeah, that's why I'm drinking period paragraph. Do I become bored or lose interest? No. I become more engaged and more interested. The more wild and theoretical it is, the more I'm like, gimme.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say, Cameron.
Okay. 3 disagree.
Absolutely,
-3.
-3.
Because in my brain, pretty much everything is made up. You know, it's almost all theoretical to an extent. Even the structures that we have in place in society, they're all made up, right?
Absolutely.
It's all theoretical, if you want to get semantic, right? But if you want to get even more abstract, if you want to get into things that may not even be tangible, I'm there, bro. Come on.
I love
Let's-
it.
let's get into
Let's
it.
talk about it.
Let's talk about that.
talk
Wait,
about it.
we can't say that. GMM, bro. GMM stole that.
Ah,
It's fine.
okay.
Let
Well,
us
let's discuss it.
Let us discuss that in depth on today's episode. We have to make it very
Very different.
transformative. Otherwise, we'll get copyright struck.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anyway,
So you usually. Oh wait. Sorry. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yourself. Yours.
oh man, this is a tricky one because I can understand experiences. Empathize, I don't know. Maybe it's just my own perception of empathy, right? But
Maybe.
I don't know if I would ever use that word to describe how I feel towards people's lived experiences because I'll never be them, and I'm of the mindset that until the day that we can literally jack into a computer and interface with someone and feel the exact chemical reactions that someone else feels, it's difficult for someone like me to empathize.
I was gonna say that's very interesting. So what's your answer?
Man, I'm gonna say neutral because the question is, you find it easy to empathize, right?
Sure.
And I can empathize. I am capable of it. I wouldn't say I find it easy because I
Okay.
care very strongly about a lot of people's lived experiences, and I find them very interesting. And I can even, if we're getting into empathy, right? By definition, I can put myself in someone's shoes and see a lot through their eyes, but I'm very much of the mindset that I'll never fully understand someone until the day that I feel those exact chemical reactions that they felt.
That is
in that
fair,
moment,
and I
you know?
respect that outlook. Go ahead, Wyatt.
I'm gonna say neutral. Neutral.
Gee, I wonder why.
Gee, I wonder why.
Why do you find it easy to relate to people just on a
No.
day-to-day basis? Okay,
Yeah,
that's all we
so-
need.
exactly.
That's what I was gonna say. Homeschooled, big family. I don't relate to people.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
even your family.
yeah.
yeah, even especially them.
That may be fair, actually.
You know, the way that you answered that makes me reflect on the way that I answered it.
Yeah.
Because I put +3. And now I feel like maybe that's a very narcissistic view because I feel like it is extremely easy for me to go into into somebody's like experiences and be like, oh, well, it makes sense why you answered this way,
Yeah,
or
right.
why you react this way.
But at the same time, even you saying that could be your projection of the thing, right?
Exactly.
And that is definitely why I didn't answer more strongly, because
Yeah.
the only experience that we will ever have to glean from is our own, right?
Right.
And we can say, like, oh, what would I do in that situation? Or what put you in your current situation, but you'll never truly know all the minutia.
Counterpoint, though.
Yes.
The only way that you will ever convince anybody of an opposing view is to be able to understand their side of the argument better than they do. And
Potentially, and in most cases, absolutely.
And
but that doesn't
so-
mean that you are necessarily empathizing with them.
And
you
I
know?
disagree, but like again, like this is maybe a topic for a
Bag of
different-
fish.
Yeah, exactly. This
There's,
is a
there's
big
a
ol-
lot that we
this
can
is a
get out
big
of
ol-
this.
Exactly.
We might have to re-listen to this podcast
exactly.
just to get new episode ideas.
But absolutely, I mean, I'm very good at convincing people. I'm very good at looking at things from their point of view, and I can't tell you how many countless times that I'm like people tell me, "You're right," and I like that makes a lot of sense, and I've never heard it that way, and like that's in a way that like I understand it because I believe empathy is a tool to communicate,
and that
if
is true. That's
if
why
you-
we have it in general, right?
And if you're good at it, you can communicate and convince even the most hard-headed of individuals of an opposing view that they might otherwise not be all for.
That is true. This is the last thing that I will say on this, just because it's something that I think about often. So I'm willing to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but I think it may just be the analytical part of my brain going, nobody else besides yourself can ever be truly known, right? And that is not to say that you cannot know facets of them, right? Because you absolutely can, but someone could give you their entire life story, and even if they were completely self-aware and go, oh yeah, this is probably why I'm like this, this is why I did this thing in my life, which led to this thing, so on and so forth, you'll still never truly know the inner machinations of their mind.
I totally agree, but I would also. So this is again the last thing that we will say on this.
That's
and
all.
I'm
That's
gonna
all.
And I'm going to read the next one.
That's why I think the idea of like interfacing with someone
Would
is
be very
fascinating,
interesting.
because you could replicate theoretically. See, we're talking about theoreticals.
Okay, okay.
You could replicate like chemical reactions and make
All
them
right.
identical. Continue.
How many people actually know themselves? And I would argue, and again, maybe this is a narcissistic view of like myself. I feel like I know people sometimes better than they know themselves.
It is narcissistic.
It
just
is,
because,
absolutely.
You know the version of them that they portray to you.
Exactly.
And sometimes an
'Kay,
outsider's
this is a bag of
perspective-
fish.
Sometimes
This
an
is a bag
outsider's
of fish.
perspective is good, but it's not the whole picture ever, and it never will
Stopping
be.
this.
There we go.
'Kay.
Let's go.
You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible.
Strong disagree.
Absolutely, -3.
I am a decisive person.
Same.
I
just wanna make the decision and move on.
Make me make a decision for you, and I'll do it.
And I'll do it.
Let's
I will
go.
make a decision, and it'll be quick.
I love it.
Very decisive.
I fully agree. +3 all the way. I probably have about 3 texts right now that I'm like, let me make sure that everything's perfect before I actually answer that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
enough.
Okay. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made.
+3.
Strong agree.
+3.
Not because I am bullheaded and go through everything super strongly, but because I'm willing to reflect on those things.
Same.
But I believe, we've been over this many a time by now, that not only are you in control of a very small amount of things relative to the rest of the universe, but life isn't about making the right or wrong choice. It's about making your choice and owning it. So you're allowed to make mistakes and you're allowed to reflect upon them, but you don't second guess those. You're allowed
Yep.
to grow from them. That's
Grow
it.
from them and
The end.
reflect on them.
The end.
All right.
Period. Paragraph, as Wyatt says.
Wyatt, I don't think you answered that.
You did not.
I second guess myself quite often, but I usually end up like saying, nah, I shouldn't have second guessed myself. So I'm gonna say, do I rarely do it? No, I do it all the time. So -2.
Fair.
-2.
All right. So after a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need.
What you say, Josh?
I say -1 because I guess this is a very interesting question for me because it's like, for example, today, we talked about this and we are block recording today. So this is something we talked about in our last episode, but me and Wyatt went through a pretty traumatic thing. We went through a lockdown and it was because of an active shooter. And my first inclination was,
I want to be at home.
I want to be at home. I want to do nothing. I'm going to lay on the couch.
Safe place.
Safe place. But then I got a phone call from one of my buddies who I went and worked out with, and he was like, "Hey, you coming to the gym?" I'm like, "Sure, let's go." And then I went to the other gym, my second job, so gymnastics. I went weightlifting. I went to gymnastics. I hung out with my other buddy, and let me tell you, exactly what I needed. It's not my first choice because my first choice is going to be, I'm going to go home. I'm going to just sit in the shower for like 30 minutes and just relax and not do anything. But I definitely do feed off of people's positive energy. And it was what I needed was to go to the gym, work out, hang out with my buddy, go to my other gym, stretch out, do some stuff, whatever. So I would say I would disagree at one because my first inclination is to go home and be by myself. But
sometimes it's not what you need,
it's
even
not
if
what I
that
need.
is your instinct.
Even if it is. So
'Kay.
that's why.
All right, I'm going to say I'm completely neutral, just because it is entirely case dependent. I am such a free-flowing guy at this point in my life that if I need to recharge alone, I will. If I feel like going out, I will. It is all very case dependent, more than most of these questions. So, completely neutral. Wyatt.
I'm going to go with a +1 for agree, purely because when I'm tired of a long week, I just want, to be around people.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's a cute answer. I like that one.
I do like
Okay. You enjoy going to art museums. To preface, Josh and I love art. I
Absolutely.
know that much. We've talked about this many a time
Yes.
In our personal lives. I can't say I've ever been to an art museum.
Okay, so you're already hitting on something that I was thinking.
Yeah.
I've never been.
I felt it.
I've never been to an art museum, so
But-
off that basis, I know I would enjoy going. So I did a +2.
I was going to say positive too. Okay, cool. Same Page
Okay.
Productions. We still got to keep the name. We
Absolutely.
have to be on the same page at least
Absolutely.
once a podcast in order to keep the name legally. So very good, very nice. I would assume that we would like the experience just
Exactly.
just based on our
as-
proclivities.
Absolutely.
So that makes sense.
Yeah,
Wyatt, what do you
absolutely.
think? Because I can almost guarantee if we haven't been to an art museum, you probably haven't either.
No, I bet you he has been.
Let's see. Where have you been? The Louvre? Have you been to the Louvre?
No, I've been to plenty. What is it? I'm trying to remember. Georgia O'Keeffe.
Really?
I've been to that one.
That's neat.
I
Like in
loved
Breaking
it.
Bad.
Yeah.
I think that's the museum that they go to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a great little place. I loved it. Georgia O'Keeffe was a great artist, abstract, but here enough to make sense. Like you actually draw what she was thinking when she was doing her paintings. I'm gonna choose neutral purely for the ones that are so abstract. You're sitting there like this doesn't represent the artist.
Interesting.
Kind of like pendulum art.
I love that you think that Georgia O'Keeffe is abstract. That actually is a great litmus
Well,
test.
so
really good.
some of her paintings she would like lay upside down and paint stuff. So
So-
about half of her paintings there is a discussion: is this right side up? Is this upside down?
I love
Is it
that.
sideways? Is it? And so it's
So it
kind
is
of
that's an abstract way of thinking.
Exactly.
it.
How is
And
it meant
so-
to be displayed?
So, and I get, well, then that's where that becomes a much more abstract conversation because only
That's so much fun,
because
though. That's
only
great.
the artist can decide what that is and like what
and
it
you
should
can
be.
decide, but that may not be what the artist intended.
But in the
That's
way
your
the way
interpretation.
exactly the way that the piece speaks to you may not be the way that the artist intended, but that in itself becomes a new piece of art. and
Love
like,
that.
Oh,
So
okay.
good.
All right.
Okay, moving on. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I'm going to say I agree. +1, because I understand people's feelings. We've already talked about this. I have very strong physiological reactions to certain things. I will cry if I see tears welling up in most people's eyes. But at the same time, sometimes I think that people are dumb and maybe don't need to be feeling the things that they are feeling in the
Okay.
moment, but that's not for me to decide. So that's where it becomes a very strange conflict in my brain.
Goes
+1.
goes back to my narcissism. -3. I absolutely understand people, and I understand their feelings and why they react in the ways that they do. And I do not judge them based off of that, because people are allowed to be stupid and they're allowed to make irrational decisions, and that's totally okay, because that's a part of growth. That's part of the experience, and it's part of the journey. And I completely understand, and I will never judge you off of a snapshot in your life that is based off of heightened emotions.
Yes. And put that on a fucking t-shirt, Josh. It's it is okay to be stupid.
It's okay to be stupid.
Because that's a
right,
revelation.
we're
That's
gonna-
a revelation.
We're
Wyatt.
going to put that on a t-shirt.
Wyatt.
I'm on the same page with Cameron. I kind of understand people, but not the best.
Yeah, like I feel like I get the emotions and why they're happening. I just don't know if they should be happening. You feel me? You
Yeah,
feel
but
me?
that could be an argument for everything.
Exactly, and that's just my own brain.
Absolutely.
So I acknowledge that about myself.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, that's me projecting. That's totally
Cool.
fine.
All right.
Feel what you feel.
So you like to have a to-do list for each day.
Fuck no.
So
-3, baby.
I'm a -1.
-1. You have a light to-do list?
So, I mean, it goes back to something we discussed earlier. Routines. I like to be spontaneous. I like to do things random. But that being said, it's much easier for me to be like, this is on my list. I need to get this done, and I'm gonna get this done.
Love
I don't need a list to get it done, but it helps me organize it. And I've never. So the way that I'm interpreting this question is, I don't have a written to-do list, but I have a mental list of like, okay, I'm
Loose
done with this.
structure.
Exactly. That's why it's a -1. I like to have a structure of what I need to do and what I need to do during the week, during the day.
You don't have to
whatever
write
may
it
be.
down.
I don't have to write it down, but that being said, I know once I'm done with this task, I have another one waiting.
Boom.
And I need
Love
to
it.
get it done.
Wyatt.
Neutral. Back to what I said earlier. I want to have a to-do list so that other people know what I'm doing, because that stresses, not knowing what I'm doing stresses a lot of people out.
Yes.
Which stresses me out. And so
It just
light
depends.
to-do list.
Case dependent.
Exactly.
Love it.
That's fair.
All right.
'Kay.
You rarely feel insecure. +3. That's
Positive
a strong
3.
agree.
+3.
We are narcissists to the core.
Absolutely.
It does not
Like,
matter. I will look at myself in the mirror until I drown, just like Narcissus
So-
did in the pool. I think she drowned. Doesn't matter. I don't care
She-
because I'm
narciss-
such a narcissist.
Narcissist was a man.
Narcissus.
Narcissus, whatever.
I don't. Well, she
It
was
was a
a
man.
she was a girl in my book.
And that's fair. Whatever.
You want to know why? Because she was hot. that's
Narcissist was hot. That was
if they
the
were
big
so
point.
hot. If they were so hot that they almost drowned looking at themselves, had to be a woman.
Okay. We're not
take
going to
a chill
unpack
pill
that.
there.
We're not going to unpack that.
Joke alert. That was a joke.
So
Because I would do the same thing, and I'm not a woman. See, that was a
So
joke.
I have a little bit of a funny story on this. I just ordered some new clothes, and I got the clothes. I don't know if I've told you about this, but I got them in, and they're very different. And I love changing up my wardrobe. I love looking different. I love being unique. Okay.
Oh my
And
God.
I know. I like to stand out.
That's
What
my
can I
fault.
say?
Oh
I have
my
a
God.
podcast.
Okay, really quick. Continue talking.
'Kay,
I'm
so-
going to get your well, not yet, bitch. I want your live reaction on my most recent shirt purchase.
Okay, absolutely. Because
But
I
keep
have
going.
one that I bought with you in mind that I know you're gonna love.
Love that.
But, like I don't have any photos or anything.
I
Anyway,
don't. I don't want you to tell anyone what it is, though.
That's
just
fine.
live
I won't.
reaction.
I
and
got
we'll
you.
Post a picture. Okay, that's it.
So I bought my clothes and I got them and I tried them on and I tried them all on and I'm super happy with them. And my wife's like, "Oh yeah, are you gonna return anything?"
Dude, okay. We talk about Wyatt mostly jokingly. I would say 60% of the time jokingly being autistic. Your wife
I love her.
is autistic.
I love her so damn much. Like, oh my god.
I love it too.
So
That's
anyway,
very good.
So I was talking about it at work, and I was talking about it with some coworkers, and I'm like, "Here, I will run the risk of looking stupid to look different, and like,
Oh, dude, we need to
be
have more photo
fashionable.
shoots
Yeah,
because I
absolutely.
have been collecting. You already know,
Dude,
I've been
and-
collecting some teas that
and
I
you know
am
what's-
dying to take pictures.
And you know
of.
what's fucking hilarious is I like the first thing I said. I was trying some of the clothes on, and I was like, "You know who's gonna love this?" She's like, "Cameron," and I'm like, absolutely.
Oh man, we might spend too much time together.
And we don't spend enough time together.
I know. How does that work?
We're on the
Okay.
same page.
Live reaction to
Okay.
my most recent shirt purchase.
Oh, dude. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I love it.
Uh,
Dude, we need to get matching tees.
I mean,
I need that.
we already have them. I can send you guys the link to this one too,
'Kay.
because this would be a great photo shoot as well.
Dude.
All right.
Absolutely. 'Kay.
Why? What's your
yeah.
answer?
I'm gonna go with a -2, just purely because I was gonna go with a -1, and then you guys started talking about how narcissistic and how like you guys never never let it bother you, and then that bothered me, and then I went to a -2 because I'm sitting here feeling insecure as we're answering questions about feeling insecure.
Okay, that means we do need to spend more time together. That's
Yeah,
what I just learned.
absolutely. We need to
Okay.
build you up a little bit, Wyatt.
That's good.
'cause
Yeah,
people
you-
fucking love you.
You have to be. You are probably the person that we get the most comments about.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good thing.
It's
Like
a
it's
good
it's
thing.
never like, oh, Wyatt sucks. It's literally like, oh my god, I love Wyatt.
love
Like
Wyatt.
whenever you weren't speaking as much on the podcast, people were like, I love whenever Wyatt talks, and
Yeah.
so we were just like, dude, fucking
Talk
Wyatt
more.
has to.
We got him on mic.
Wyatt has to be here all the time.
All the
I know,
time.
So
but-
just so you know, like fucking pump up your
Yeah,
ego. A little
absolutely.
bit, bro.
It's okay
You
to have a little
deserve
bit of
it.
ego.
You deserve that.
You
shit.
absolutely do. Okay.
You're the glue that holds us together. That's why
Really?
we put you in the middle.
Honestly. So
wait, I want to answer the next one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What's the question
The
first?
next question is, you avoid making phone calls. That's a no. I legit called Cameron, what was it, yesterday over the stupidest thing
You did.
ever.
You just hung up on me too. God damn it. Yeah, no. Also, I don't know why you did the gayest hand motion I've ever seen there. You're like, absolutely not. I love calling people. That's fucking ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, Wyatt will actively call people. I can attest to that. I don't even remember what it was about. I was like, is that all? I asked him. I was like, is that all you had to fucking call me about? And he's all, yeah. Then he just hung up.
that's fucking hilarious.
It was really good. Okay.
So what's your rating? What's your answer?
You're a -3, aren't you?
-3, right?
Yeah.
I'm a -3 as well.
I'm a
because-
-3 as well.
Dude, I'll fucking call you anytime.
Dude, I prefer calling. I'm gonna talk to you on
Honestly,
the phone.
like, dude, it's just
it's gonna be
easier.
quicker.
It's easier.
Like, God.
Most of my shit is easy too. Like, Sunshine, shout out, been on the pod, friend of the pod. I will call her and be like, "Are we getting crumble cookie tonight?" And then she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay," and then I'll hang up.
Absolutely.
Or alternatively, back in high school, whenever I first got my driver's license, I would show up randomly outside of my friends' houses and offer to buy them breakfast, right? You best believe I'm calling them.
Yeah.
Even if it's like 11 a.m., a lot of people that I know.
Oh, 11 a.m.
No,
Like, that's early.
Listen here. A lot of my friends were homeschooled, did online classes, whatever, through like high school. So we would sleep in, and I would usually be the first one up. And Kyle, also a friend of the pod, would be like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I'm like, "Kyle, I'm outside your house." And he's like, "God, Cameron, fucking why?" And I'm like, "Because I want to go get breakfast, dude. I don't have
Let's
anything
go.
to do."
Let's
yeah,
go.
that was before I had a job. I
Yeah,
had nothing
adult.
to do, bro. Oh my god, those
Being
were
an
the
adult.
days. God damn.
God, I
But
miss them, honestly.
I've been calling bitches. That's all
No,
I'm saying.
I definitely prefer calling. I think, and I think a part of it's because I'm impatient. I'm like,
Dude, me too.
I send a text message. I'm like, fucking respond.
all
I
I'm
need an
saying-
answer now.
all I'm
This is
saying-
time sensitive.
So you're a -3 as well.
-3, absolutely,
Okay. All I'm saying to cap this one off, it ain't called a booty text.
absolutely.
Okay. I'm not averse to calling.
Okay.
'Kay.
So you often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own.
That's a +3.
+3.
I want to know what makes you tick. I don't care how different it is. And now, at this point in my life, I am not going to argue with you. That's not what I care about. I just want to know.
I'm a
curious.
master debater, bro.
Yeah.
What can
love
I
that.
say? I want to understand your side of the argument so that I can argue your side better than you.
See?
All
And
right.
I'm not ever going to argue with you in person.
Okay.
Not anymore. That's weird.
I don't want to
Change.
argue. I want to debate, but like I'm going to
Same.
convince you. Yeah, it's
in
not.
in this context.
In this
it's the same.
context, it's the same, but you know, I have to differentiate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh totally was just like, I'm a master debater. And I was just like, master.
That made you titter a little bit. Made you
So
titter.
you might be a
Master
cunning
debater.
linguist, Wyatt, but I'm a master debater.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
say that really
wordplay.
quick, like all in one word.
Yeah, just in case there's anyone listening that didn't get it the first
Doesn't
time.
get the joke that this joke has been around for like 60 fucking years.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
it? Has it really been?
Is that your
Dude, it's I love you. I
You're the
love
best
you.
Wyatt. This is why
Wyatt.
people love you.
This
is
is
why
exactly
people love
why.
you.
Yeah. So what's your answer?
Strongly agree.
Okay, so
Strongly
positive
agree.
3.
Perfect.
We're all
on the
positive
same
3. Okay. All right.
Okay. Next question. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. I would say, for all of us, that has to be in the green because we all
Absolutely.
coordinate with at least each other.
And we do.
But for myself personally, outside of us, positive 3. Just
Positive
because
1.
I'm the initiator, most of the time. Nowadays, less so than I used to be, but I would still say it's a positive 3. Just because if I want to do something, I'm going to make that shit happen. And you don't even have to tag along, but I'm going to initiate it.
Positive 1 for sure, because like I will definitely make it happen, and I like to do that. But I don't know. I don't like to be pushy, and to be fair, there are some times where like I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this. Hopefully nobody answers the group text, and like, you know what I mean?
You're like, I don't know why I actually sent this message. I don't want anyone to respond
You know,
to it.
and like,
Fair.
and that's very rare because again, if I commit to something and I say I want to do something, I want to do it, and I'm going to make it happen. But that being said, whenever we're talking about like a 6 a.m. fucking bike ride, and I wake up, my alarm goes off, and I'm like, okay, these bitches have 15 minutes to throw something in the group chat. Otherwise, I'm going back to sleep.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Hey, at least you're consistent.
Absolutely. And I'm like, but as soon as somebody throws in the group chat, hey, are we still on for date? Absolutely.
You go.
I'm up. I'm
You
up.
go.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I'm like, sometimes
Fair.
I'm like,
There are times where you're more apprehensive. I get it. I think
Yeah.
that's normal.
Yeah.
Okay, Wyatt, what's your answer?
A positive 2. I'm like right in between you guys for the same reasons, just kind of less.
or more.
Exactly.
Depending on how you look at it.
All right. Okay. So if your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible.
Negative 3.
I'd say -2.
Just because if something else comes up, my energy, my commitment is dedicated to that thing, right? There are times, very rarely in my life, that I'm like, man, I really have this thing that I want to fucking do, right? And I have to do it before all else. There are 2 things, both video game related, funnily enough, that I can think of that relate to this. Back in 4th grade, probably? Back whenever Super Smash Bros. Brawl was the big deal on the Wii. I remember playing the campaign mode, the Subspace Emissary, and almost not being able to sleep because of how much I wanted to play more of it. And then the next day at school, same exact thing, right? But the nice part is that's just kind of obligation at that point.
Sure.
And recently, it was Valorant that did that to me, I
God,
believe.
I
Or maybe Apex Legends, or maybe both, because I've been obsessed with both recently.
Yeah.
But even then, even if I'm thinking about them almost all day, even if I'm very excited to do those things, they never really feel like a priority, right? It's just the way my brain works, I can usually focus on present task. So I'll say a -3, because those are very rare situations.
I'm gonna say neutral. Today's a great example of that. Our truck, because I work in the warehouse, didn't show up last night, and so I was on call today waiting for the truck, and then I was supposed to help a friend, and then I was supposed to do a birthday party, and then and it was always like I lived in exactly that moment, and I was like, if this happens, then I'm going to do this. If this happens, and it was just a day of uncertainty, and so I'm just going to stay neutral because I didn't handle it good or bad.
The Day of Uncertainty is a great name for a metal album.
That is actually
would be.
great. You're
That would be
totally.
dope.
You're absolutely
Hey, nobody's
right.
still it.
Yeah,
We're
that's
gonna
that's
copy
our.
that.
Patented.
We have to,
Hey, this episode hasn't gone up yet,
It's true. We can cut that out just so no one steals it.
or we'll put up an album before this goes out.
Oh my god, we have to produce an album tonight.
Yeah,
Wyatt.
let's do it.
Okay. What's your answer, Josh?
-2, and the reason why is because, man, it's just not that serious.
I agree.
You
You
know,
do what you do. You
Like,
roll with the punches.
Like, there's very few times where I'm like, if something comes up that I'm like, oh man, what I'm doing right now is such high priority that like it's so urgent that I get this done now or whatever may be, that I'm like, no, you have to wait
Yeah.
or whatever. And like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen because it does happen, but
That's life.
it's so rare that I'm like, what I am doing right now, presently, is so damn important that it cannot wait 20 minutes, an hour, a day, or whatever it may be. And it all goes back to the priorities. You know, I like to consider myself good at prioritization. And I'm like, okay, this is time sensitive. This is whatever. This is what I need to get done. Cool, I'm going to get it done. And also on the flip side of like, okay, this isn't that crazy. It's not that serious. Like, yeah, I can take a little, you know, what's the word that I'm trying
An
to think
excursion, a diversion,
of? Fucking,
a side trip.
no, it's not either. Any of those words is what I'm thinking of.
What
but
are you thinking of?
I don't know. I can't think of it.
Love
But
it.
like, I can't take, you know, whatever. Those words worked, but I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of. Detour.
That's more.
Detour
there
is the
we
word.
go.
So
Love
it's not nothing that I do is so important that I can't take a little detour and come back to it later.
I agree, and that is very much something that I think we are both lucky to say
Mm-hmm.
because we are not in a field of work that requires some sort of like emergency prioritization. You know,
To a certain extent. That's why I
It's
leave
all-
it at a -2.
it's relative. Right?
Exactly,
But
it is,
I would
it's
say
relative.
most people could probably sit at a -2 comfortably. I say -3 just because I cannot even think of a time where I was like, oh, this has to wait. You know,
Right.
most of the time in my life, I am just like, yeah, man, whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever
that's
happens.
cool. Let's
okay,
do it.
cool. We filled air enough for Wyatt to do a thing and come back.
Doesn't
Perfect.
matter.
Love it.
So-
Doesn't matter. I was scared that we were going to have to fill more air. That's why I wanted to point it out. Okay. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. I'm going to say,
Cotton Eye Joe, where did you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Cotton Eye Joe.
yes.
You know, let's talk about STDs.
What's the cotton eye?
Yeah.
AIDS? Okay, doesn't matter. You are still bothered by mistakes. Bothered may not be the correct word because every mistake, quote unquote, that you make is formative to you now, right? You can still think about them and maybe even still hate the fact that you made those decisions, but it doesn't really change anything. So why would you ever worry about it? You know, that's at least my
So what's your
philosophy.
answer?
I'm gonna say -1, just because I still think about stupid shit that I did from years ago. Just because that's my anxiety. I have a awfully perfect memory. It's god awful. But bother. It's not the word that I.
Wyatt, what's your answer?
+1 probably.
Yeah. Still a little, you know,
yeah.
lose a little sleep.
It's and I say +1 because I lose a little sleep, but after about like 2 or 3 days, I just accept it and go on.
Nice. You just smoke some weed.
yeah.
No.
Take some of that hemp oil.
Take some Xans.
Yeah.
Drink some lean. We know you, Wyatt.
Yeah.
We know how fucking crazy you are.
Mine is absolutely a disagree. -3.
Love that. We already know why. You don't
ye-
even gotta say it.
Yep. Even the wrong decisions you made, hindsight's 2020. Those decisions were right in the moment, even if they're not right with all of the knowledge that you gain after the fact. They were right in the moment, and you did not make the right you did not make the wrong decision in the moment.
Yeah.
See-
Once again, it's not about making the right or wrong decision.
It's about making the decision and growing from it
Exactly.
and
Beautiful.
living through it.
Oh my God, a modern day Alan Watts.
Amor fati.
And then I'm gonna definitely say something counter to
No,
what I just
not
picked.
allowed. Next
No,
question.
no. Wait. My philosophy is you never make a mistake as long as you learn from it.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Wyatt. Look at us. Oh my God.
Very,
Look at us.
very introspective.
Okay.
You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life.
Strong disagree.
Absolutely.
Because really, even if it's not necessarily reasons, sometimes you just think about shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd be thinking, even if I'm not like, oh, why did this happen? I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna play some thought experiments in my mind.
Right.
That's it. So I'm gonna say -3, even if I'm not necessarily thinking about the moral implications or a specific grand design. I'm usually thinking about it.
Wyatt, what's your answer?
Strongly disagree.
So -3 as well. Mine's a
Yep.
-2. And it is because like I do so I mean, I do think about it, and I do think that we're here for a reason. But there's also a certain aspect of my psyche that is, we make our own reason. You
I
know,
agree. You know, I agree with that. too.
exactly. And so, like, while I do think that there's a reason for why we're here, and everybody has a purpose, and like you go out there and do it, there's a part of me that believes that that purpose is whatever you want it to be.
100%.
And you go do that, and like, so really, it goes back and forth of like, yes, we're here for a purpose, but that purpose also might be whatever purpose you want.
Exactly. That's
You know?
beautiful. You know, it can be both.
It can be both.
And sometimes it's just fun to think about. Even if you're not concerned about it, sometimes
Yep.
you just think about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Your emotions control you more than you control them. That's a -3.
-3.
-3.
We are all relatively emotionally aware, at least in our friend circle and by means of comparison. So I don't think
Yeah.
any of us have anything to worry about.
Yep,
Next
exactly.
question. That one's easy.
Yeah. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it's completely their fault.
Okay, so I have set myself up in past to be the lighthearted one, the jokester, class clown, for lack of a better term. Not just because that's what I want to be, as far as center of attention, but because I want to keep things light in case someone fucks up. Because I know how it feels to fuck up, whether that's drastically or not so. And I want people to know, even in that moment where it is probably the most impactful to them, that it's really not that big of a deal, you know? And that's not me making fun of them ever. That's actually quite the opposite. I would rather make myself look worse than make someone else feel bad about what they did.
Right. So what's your answer?
I'm going to say +2.
I
Just
said-
because I take care, and I'm not going to. I will go out of my way to do so in most cases, but at the same time, there's always room for a little bit of leeway.
So I agree
will,
with-
I will still call people out if they did something absolutely wrong.
You basically said exactly what I was thinking. I'm +2 as well because, again, it's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. Fuck up, move on, learn
Most
from
things
it,
are
move
not,
past it.
and I can take it
But
better than most people can.
and I can
right?
take it better than
Yeah.
most people as well. But that being said, there are those instances where, dude, you need to fucking realize what you're doing and like that you're fucking up.
We're,
and, like,
we're
you need
not
learn
going
from
to
it.
cover
And you-
for people all the time.
exactly.
Boom.
And there's exactly
Wyatt, what you got?
I stand for the same thing. I'm not going to cover for everybody. I'm the first one to be like, hey, you screwed up. And I'm going to talk to whoever's like in charge and make sure that, you know you're not supposed to
Oh,
screw
you're
up.
going to talk to the fucking manager, Wyatt?
Sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You're one
yeah.
of those?
Oh, yeah. I'm one of those people.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. I'm going to put a +1 for this because it's not so much spontaneous bursts, right? I just, like I said, chip away at things at different intervals. So
Sure.
it's not so much like, oh, I'm just dedicating all my time and energy to this one thing, and then I'm going to poop myself out, and I'm not going to be able to deal with it again. But I definitely don't like the structure that comes with to-do lists, what we have covered already. So, +1.
Mine is a -2.
Okay.
Because, yeah, my personal work style is definitely not spontaneous. You know, I like to be like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to get it done. Because I believe discipline comes first, motivation comes second.
That's actually huge, and a lot of people that I'm close to right now have echoed the same thing.
You know,
It's
and-
very good to remember.
And that's the thing is because, like, I mean, and I think it's something that you even posted. It's like there's no such thing as the right time. There is only time in what you do with it.
Yes.
Right. And if you wait for the right time, it'll never come. If you wait for motivation, it might come once in a blue moon, but it'll
It's
never
fleeting.
be there. It's so fleeting. And so that's what the difference between motivation and discipline. And I mean, a perfect example is the gym, you know, and like I mean, I'm not like a gym bro and like, oh, you know, get to the fucking gym,
Sure,
you know.
yeah,
You know,
sure.
but that being said, it's a perfect example because again, there have been days that I don't want to go to the gym, you know, but I go, I get through it. I get through my workout. I feel better because of it, and I'm proud of myself because I did it. And then
yeah.
the motivation to go tomorrow comes after the workout.
Yeah.
I'm like, I fucking did it today. Let's do it again tomorrow.
It's kind of the emotion thing. It's
Yeah.
been talked about many a time already, but emotions are very fleeting. They
Yep.
are very temporary, and if you rely on emotions too heavily, you will never get anything done consistently.
Yep.
That's it. Wyatt, what you got?
Fully agree. All three.
You
Yeah,
do the
I
burst
mentioned
shit.
it. I mentioned it earlier. I'm like,
Yeah.
homework, video games. Homework.
I can't tell you how many times that I've talked to Wyatt, and he's like, "Yeah, I was up till like 4 or 5 in the morning."
Dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And
bro.
it's purely because, I'm enjoying this right now. I'm gonna do it now.
Pure
And then-
manic energy.
And then the next
Absolutely.
morning, I'm just like, I could do that instead of staying up super late. But the next night, I'm like, it's 4. I feel like
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So when someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you.
So it's not so much a worry, but I used to, whenever I was way more self-deprecating and emo, I used to tell people, don't think too highly of me.
Yeah.
Like pretty much in those exact words, just because I knew, based on human behavior, more so than my own actions, that eventually I would do something to disappoint them. Even if that wasn't something wrong that I did, I was like, people aren't always going to like the decisions that I make.
And that's true.
And this question specifically asks, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you, right? Not that you worry about it, not that you're anxious about it.
But you think about it.
You think about it. And I would say I think about that often, right? Where it does not matter how long you can be in someone's good graces. Eventually, by the law of averages, you will do something that they don't like.
Sure.
And this may be my own personal experience, and we're going to get slightly deep for a very small second. This comes from previous experience, right? Without going into the weeds, I had a roommate.
I knew you were going to bring
for
that
a really
up.
long time.
I knew you were going to
right?
bring that up.
And for a very long time, we thought that we were on the same page, you know, and we were planning on doing creative endeavors for a very long time as well. And I think that we just realized that we were very different people. And I myself, going into that entire experience, knew that it would end that way.
Self-actualization.
Yeah, and that wasn't me. That wasn't me trying to be any sort of way. It just so happened to be that I was correct. That's
Right,
all.
right.
So that's all I got. Give me 1 second, everybody. Josh, give me your answer.
No, Wyatt, go first, because I feel very strongly in this, and I'm going to talk about it.
Number 2.
Positive 2?
Yeah, positive 2. Because like I said, I'm very, I forget the term, like,
Anxious?
not anxious,
Neurotic.
not neurotic. When dang it, we talked about it earlier. Insecure. And so like
Anxiety, that's anxiety.
Yeah,
people's
it can
perception
be.
of me has to be like always 100%.
Hey, well, if it makes you feel any better, Wyatt, you are one of the pillars of my life.
Absolutely.
I can always rely on you for consistency.
So I am a definitely -3. I never wonder how long I'm going to disappoint somebody because, and again, maybe this is the narcissism, maybe
is.
whatever it is. You're probably right. It is. But again, it goes back to I'm living my life for me. I'm trying to be the best version of me. And it goes back to, a conversation that I've had with. So I'm a leader, okay, in the mega corporation that I work for.
Mega corporate.
It is,
We're not in
absolutely.
Cyberpunk 2077,
We
bro.
basically are.
All right.
But in the corporation that I work for and in the building that I work for, I am one of the leaders in the building. And I've had numerous conversations with other leaders and other people of influence in the building. And one of the first things I always tell people or tell other leaders is that in order to inspire others, you need to be the version of you that you want to be.
All right. So this is an interesting one for us because we have taken the same path and diverged.
Yes.
Instead of the other way around.
Yes.
Because I am still doing everything for me, and I am allowing myself to be the best version of me. But at the same time, I just always have that wonder, not anxiety even, coming from me, an anxious person. I just always think, I wonder it's almost like a melancholy, right? Where I
Sure.
go, I wonder what I will do. Not when,
So-
not how. I wonder what I will do in order to fuck this up in some way or another.
And see, and I totally get that, but here's also my thought, and again, this is probably the narcissism.
It is.
Yeah. Things are gonna get hard. I'm gonna tell you things that you don't want to hear. I'm gonna push you in ways that you don't want to be pushed. And friction, adversity, builds growth.
I like that, and I do agree with all that. But also, because we are not always the best versions of ourselves,
I agree.
I think that there is a lot that we can do to change others' perceptions of us. That is not always positive.
You're right. It's not always positive in the moment, but it might become positive.
It could,
And
and that's we've already been over that.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's,
And
that's
again,
more
we're not
than
gonna,
fair.
We won't go into that too much because again, this is an experience that I've actually been going through pretty recently.
Yeah.
But it's okay for somebody's opinion to like drop of me or whatever it may be. That doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't change the way that I'm going to do, and that's not going to change the things that I'm going to say. Or
I can
how I'm
say
gonna
the same.
act, and that's okay.
Yes,
But I
can
promise
say the same.
I-
It's just about the when and the how,
and it's
I
all
guess.
about the growth. It's all about the growth. And again, like I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not going to say I'm going to push you, but I promise you, taking that step into an uncomfortable situation, saying the things that you don't want to hear, it might feel negative in the moment, but it will never lead to a negative outcome.
Never. Wow.
Never.
bold
Absolutely
words.
not.
It will.
Absolutely.
That's
no,
okay.
It won't. No, it won't.
That's okay.
I
It
disagree.
will.
I
It's
disagree.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Nexty. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Disagree. I've
Disagree.
done that, and it sucks. I worked
Disagree.
remotely for about a year.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I wanted to blow my brains out. So, that's a strong disagree from Cameron.
-2.
Especially now that this is a post-COVID world, we probably all have experience from that. You can probably answer
Yep.
more honestly than you ever have before. What is
Absolutely.
everyone's answers? I know yours, Josh. Wyatt.
Neutral.
Really?
Yes. People just piss me off sometimes.
Yeah.
I also at work we unload, since I'm a warehouse dude, I said it before, we unload trucks, and I've noticed when I do it with someone else, I feel like unjustified if I just do it all myself, and so I kind of expect the other person to pull their weight just purely because like it's a job. That's what
Yes.
you're supposed to pull your weight.
Fair.
And
Yeah.
it just doesn't get done. And then at the end of it, I'm like, well, I did all I could do. I could have done this better, faster by myself.
basically was working alone the
Yeah, pretty much. And then I've noticed when I do it alone, it gets done quick, efficiently, and then I'm like,
Wait, Wyatt.
yes.
You said doo-doo. Okay.
Yeah. So disagree -2 because I prefer working with people, but I don't mind working by myself.
Alrighty, love that. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time.
Disagree.
-3.
-3.
Disagree.
Absolutely.
-3.
Okay, so this is my current philosophy. I think that, honestly, people that talk about philosophy all the time, get your head out of your ass.
I
For
do
real,
agree with
for
that.
real.
I
Like,
do
straight
agree
up.
with that.
But at the same time, if you're in good company and if you know your audience, you're more than welcome to talk about that shit.
'Kay.
And even if it only benefits your life, I think it's important to go over.
So, interjection, because I totally agree. People who only talk about philosophy, it all depends about purpose, right?
Bruh,
You know,
it's just shut the fuck up after a while.
well, it
Not
depends.
you, obviously.
I know, I
Josh.
get it. I know, but it depends on purpose because I believe philosophy, and again, the Greek philosophy of I think, therefore I am, philosophy can be very introspective in terms of realizing who you are, what your values are, and whatever. A lot of people use philosophy.
And like, whatever, bro. You know?
Okay.
Whatever.
Again, it's not that deep. but,
Realizing like who you are and whatever, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. But people who use philosophy for like, oh, well, I actually studied abroad for 2 years.
shut
And
the hell
so,
up.
that shut the fuck up, bro. Okay. Like, if you don't want to talk about like fucking aliens and like how meaningless our fucking existence is because we're 1 in a billion, but like there's infinite possibilities. So you saying that there's no other versions of you or other life, shut the fuck up. Okay. Like, if you want to have that conversation, I'm
You're
down.
a dime a dozen now.
Exactly.
Right? And
Exactly.
I think I'll even go a step further, right? there are certain like rabbit holes that you should go down, right? Where it's thinking just to think, not necessarily to better yourself, just to be like,
Or
I'm
to
gonna
show how
think.
intelligent you are,
I'm gonna
or whatever.
Think. I'm gonna think.
Exactly.
That's fine every now and
Fucking
then. Do
exercise it.
Do it.
Exercise your
Exactly.
brain.
Because that's why we're here.
If-
you know, or
okay.
at least I think that that is one of the pillars of why we're here. But if
Okay.
you're doing that all the time, if you're just being a pretentious dick, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, you feel more drawn to places with.
Oh wait,
busy-
Wyatt, what's your answer?
Oh, no, he said -3
I
as well.
said it.
Okay, you
we're
did say
all in
-3.
agreement.
Okay.
I just
Just
didn't elaborate.
Wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I
That's
think
all.
we're all on the same
Thank
page.
you, though.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
It's like this is the name of a show.
You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places.
I am going to agree +1 simply because I am still a big city person. I do appreciate the quieter places every now and then, right? But if I'm like talking about my day life, right, where I'm working, where I'm commuting, all that good stuff, I still love the city. It is my favorite, and I actually daydream about it sometimes just because
That's fair.
I adore it so much. It's not nearly
So
as
what was
mu-
your answer?
It's not as important as it used to be to me. A +1.
'Kay.
But it is still very important to me,
'Kay.
and I prefer it over the alternative.
Wyatt, go ahead.
I'm going to be totally neutral. Growing up being a Boy Scout, I've been some places where there is absolute silence, and I've been legit on a mountain tall enough that I stood above the clouds. And
Wow.
it's just amazing to look over and see the curvature of the earth and just.
What do you mean the
complete
curvature? The
sight,
Earth
yeah.
is flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Earth is shaped like a Velociraptor chicken nugget.
Okay,
That's the
You know what I'm
stupidest
saying?
thing ever.
What's your answer, Josh?
I'm a -2.
Okay, wait. What? Were you done with your thought? I'm so
Uh,
sorry. Continue. You saw the curvature of the Earth, but
Yeah, but there was
see,
a but. There was
knew,
a little
dude,
but.
I felt the butt.
I get lonely.
That's
Aw,
cute.
that's it.
Aw,
You're
Wyatt.
so adorable, Wyatt.
love
I love
you.
you. Holy shit. I fucking love you. You're a gem. I'm a -2. I hate the fucking city. I hate how busy it is. I hate how impersonal it is. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to visiting and going and traveling and experience it because, like, I love the city because of the fact that there's adventure and that you can go walk, 4 or 5 blocks and be like in a completely different environment and meet people and all that. But how many of those people want to meet you?
Bro,
How
I don't
many-
give a shit. I'll
how-
still be the center of attention.
I get that, but again, I hate the fast pace, and again, it's a love hate. That's why I do -2.
Dude, me too. On the opposite side of the spectrum.
Exactly.
I get it.
I definitely love to slow it down. I love to have conversation. It's like whenever I hang out with people, or like back whenever I would go on dates. So this is a perfect example.
Oh, please.
I would never take my wife out before we got married to a movie theater. Why?
because
what are
you're
you-
not doing shit. in
You're
there.
not doing shit. You're watching, but you're not connecting.
Interacting. I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
I love to interact with people. I love to have conversations. I love to. Cameron, why are you the way that you are? What experiences have led
Oh
you to
boy,
this?
well,
Right.
it all
Okay, shut the
started.
fuck up. But right, I love to mingle. I love to have conversation. I love to get to know people, and I
Yes.
love to slow it down.
You
in the
don't
moment.
want, as Fight Club so eloquently put it, you don't want the single serving friends.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Love that. Okay. Cool.
Okay, at first glance how someone is feeling.
I would say I'm a +1 on this because it's not that hard to read people most of the time.
Right.
Body language is a real thing, and I'm not that autistic. Hopefully. I'm getting weird looks. Okay. I don't know what that means. +1. That solidifies where I was standing. Wyatt.
I'm gonna
Sorry, didn't mean to cut off your tea drinking.
I know
there.
my tea drinking.
Tea and gin.
My tea and gin.
Tim.
Fully agree.
Chin. Fully
Chin.
agree, really.
Yes.
The most autistic person out of this group is like, I just get people.
Why,
I can
that's-
just look at
That's
them.
going to skew your entire test result.
That
bro.
absolutely
That
is,
changes
but that's fucking
everything.
fine. But like, tell us why.
I mentioned earlier because of the shooting. I could tell in people's eyes.
But you couldn't tell that I was anxious.
bitch.
So that's a yes and a no.
I'm
with
gonna ask you
that.
to bring it down one notch for Josh's counterpoint.
Well, I could tell you're anxious, but I could also tell that your sense of like duty and making sure everybody was safe.
All I'm gonna say is to
overrode that.
quote Wyatt, "Stone Cold
Cold
Killer."
Hey Wyatt, you said duty.
I said duty.
So I respect that, and I do get that. I'm gonna say a positive 2, because I don't know what everybody is feeling, and there are people who experience emotions and process things differently. But I can't tell you how many times that I've had conversations with people, and I'm like, "Hey, you doing okay? Like, what's going on?" And they're like, "How did you see that?" Right? You're like, "How? Like, nobody else has saw that. Like, how do you know that I'm going through something right now?" And I'm like, "I just know. You know,
I
I just know."
feel
But
it.
it's not 100%, because that
Never
means-
is.
exactly, and
Never
that's
can
why
be.
it's a positive 2.
If you rate yourself a 3, you're wrong, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. Don't you change that after you leave it.
I was not going to.
Okay.
Okay, so before we go into the next set of questions, we are at 90%. And all I am saying is I have never, ever experienced an astrology reading this in depth.
Thank you. This is not the same as fucking Joe Bro and whatever, I don't know,
this
like
is the
astrology.
same. I like to give everybody shit equally.
I know, which at least you're consistent.
Yeah, I try my best. But yeah, this is pretty fucking in depth, and that does not
I love this test.
indicate validity at all.
Right.
But it is a lot of fucking shit, bruh.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
We've also
and they're
kind of
interesting questions.
yeah, and we've gone into the weeds several times, and it's very, very nice because that's why we have this goddamn podcast.
You have
This
to be
is-
introspective.
Everything has been building up to this moment. Honestly.
Conversation.
This is good
Yep.
because this is a two-parter. This is our first two-parter, and we have been given some real insight into our personalities.
Yeah.
Even if we are the only ones that listen to this,
Yeah.
and we just go back and we go, "Oh
Wow.
wow."
Well, and okay, so
That's pretty
on
cool.
that note, just quick, because I know like we don't want this to go too long, but
who the
it
fuck
was funny
cares at this point?
I agree. We're gonna finish this thing out. This
If you're still
episode.
listening, you're here for the long haul.
Yeah, I
There.
love you.
Yeah,
I
hey.
love you. Yeah, but it was funny because like the other night, Wyatt was listening to our podcast, and again he asked me a question. He's like, "Hey, I remember the question, but it doesn't really matter." But he asked me a question. He's like, "Hey, what's your answer to this question?" And I said the answer, and he's like, "Well, we're gonna know if you match the same as what you were, however many weeks ago."
Yes.
And all I will say is it was the exact same answer that I gave, on the podcast however many weeks ago. So at least we are genuine at what we are saying. And these conversations, we're laying it bare, baby.
Yeah.
This
for
is
better
us.
or for worse.
Yeah, there is no such thing as worse. There is no negativity that can come out of this.
We love that. Not in this podcast.
Not in this
Not
podcast.
in my goddamn podcast.
Not okay. You often feel overwhelmed.
Not nearly as much as I used to. I used to be a positive 3, just because of my own proclivities. That is a great word. I will use it as many times as I can before this episode is over. I'll try to squeeze it in 2 more times. But I would say -1, just because right now I feel more equipped than ever to handle all of the things in front of me.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really just my own anxiety that kept me from feeling that way.
Yeah.
And it does vary day to day, but
Right.
as of right now, and as of the past few months, I would say even past year, I've felt more equipped than ever to take on whatever I'm dealing with. So
Right.
I'll say -1,
Wyatt,
just
go
because
ahead.
there's still room for growth.
Fully agree that I feel
Really?
overwhelmed a lot.
Really?
It's like I said, like today's a great example. Like it was nothing, single second of this is what we're doing right here, right now. And so I was like the whole day overwhelmed. Even now I'm sitting here thinking like, I've got to do homework after this.
Oh, yeah. That's yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to zone in for the next 8 questions, bro.
Yeah.
Just because we're just vibing.
We're just vibing.
We're living in the moment, bro.
Living
And
life.
I know you got a lot on your plate, but guess what? I do too.
Everybody does.
I have to do laundry and bullshit. Come on, bro.
I don't know if that quite equates, but I'm a -3. I completely disagree. I never feel that overwhelmed.
Good on you.
And I,
That's because you're a himbo.
yeah, you're probably right. Maybe exactly. Maybe it's because I'm too dumb to feel like, oh my god, yeah, like the world is caving in or whatever. But here's my thought process. Whatever you're going through, somebody has gone through it, and somebody has the answer.
Bro.
And if you simply look for the answer, you can find it.
Oh my god, you're fucking Confucius right now.
You know what I mean? And
Can't believe it.
And so that's really what it is. Is like
Yeah.
you just need to trust your peers, trust your superiors, whatever. You know, you can find the answer, and you also have to trust yourself. And that goes back to one of the first questions we asked is do you make decisions more with your heart or your head or like blah blah whatever. I can't quote the question exactly.
that was about it.
I trust my heart, and I trust that whatever I am feeling and whatever I act on will be correct. And as long as I trust myself and I trust my emotions, and as long as I have enough forethought to, interpret those feelings in a positive manner, nothing bad's going to happen.
I mean-
and anything bad that does happen will never be beyond repair or beyond the point of no return.
I mean, honestly, all you can do in life is keep going.
Absolutely.
And I've actually said that to myself many a time whenever I have gotten overwhelmed in these past few weeks, and it's helped a ton. What's the alternative? You gonna roll over and die?
Exactly.
Truly,
You gotta keep going.
That is not a slight on anyone either, because
No.
sometimes shit does get overwhelming.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But all you can do is
Just keep
press
going.
forward and keep
going.
going. So I like that a lot. Okay,
Cool.
What else
So,
we got?
You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I will say
Positive 3.
Positive 2, just because I am never as perfect as I want to be, so I'll give myself that bit of leeway, but I am still absolutely a methodical finisher. If I'm doing something, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm also going to apply exactly what I see fit to it.
Sure. Wyatt?
I'm going to say a positive 2 purely because I want everything done right. But I have noticed it more and more recently. I tend to I already know this, skip this one, move on, sort of a deal.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely positive 3 because those steps are there for a reason. And I'm the type of guy that, for example, whenever we get recently, not too recently, but within recent memory, me and my wife bought a desk for her office. And I'm the type of guy, cool, do we have all the parts? Let's lay out all the parts. Let's make sure all the parts, we have everything that's marked in here.
You're
Okay, cool.
literally methodical.
I'm very much so because So I will absolutely follow step by step, and I make sure that we hit each and every step. I make sure that we have each and every part. Absolutely. Because, again, like what Wyatt was saying, I want to make sure things are done right, and those things are there for a reason, and I trust
Sure.
the process. I trust the process.
Sure. And I think that's why I put a positive 2, honestly, because some things are an art more than a science, So even if things are very much laid out, there's almost always room for some interpretation. Unless
Sure.
you're building a fucking desk.
Yeah.
So
then you just follow the instructions.
Yeah, but you always end up with a few extra parts. I don't know
You're like, what the
how.
fuck?
I don't know how or why.
Were they supposed to be
why
there?
fucking put them in there?
Were they supposed to be
what the
there?
fuck?
Like-
I had all the parts that they had and everything. I followed the steps.
What am I
Why
supposed
the
to do?
fuck- What
am I
do I
supposed
have
to keep them? I don't get it.
Absolutely.
Where am I going to keep them?
Are they
in my
extra
fucking
parts?
junk drawer?
They're-
Because then I'm going to forget about them.
Now they're in my fucking toolbox.
I don't need them.
I don't need
and
them.
I'm never going to use them.
But they're in my toolbox.
sure, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
IKEA.
Absolutely.
Love it. Shout out IKEA. Sponsor us.
Yes.
30-second story. The same uncle who found the toe. I was
fake
yeah,
toe.
the
fake
fake
toe that you
Okay,
brought up.
So,
fake
okay,
story.
now I have to ask, is this a fake uncle?
No,
or is this a real
this is
uncle?
a real uncle.
You just referenced him
Yeah.
in your fake
He's
story?
the one.
No.
He's the one he uses in every fake story,
no.
but also
He was the
occasionally
one-
real
He- he
stories.
was- real guy. Okay.
So he was the one who told me that story. That's why I referenced him.
Fair
This
enough.
is a real story, though. I was helping
30
him,
seconds on the clock. Go.
I was helping him repair a tractor because he's a farmer, and he.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, he's a farmer. I swear.
Don't let Cameron sidetrack you.
He's
Yeah, you got
sidetracked.
15 seconds.
So we're repairing a little piece on the tractor, and he's like, "Throw those instructions away. We don't need them." 10 minutes later, he's like, "Where are the instructions?" I'm like, "I threw them away like you told me." And he's just like,
You're a
"Why
fucking
would
idiot.
you do that?"
Why? Yeah, I wasn't serious. Autism.
Oh, it
No,
runs in
no,
the
he was
family.
Donate to
definitely
your
serious.
local orphanage.
Actually, donate to our Patreon.
Yeah, which-
that way we'll get that up just so
By
we
the
can,
time this goes up,
we can get Wyatt treatment, and by that I mean make.
more gin and tea. That's what we need.
I agree. He's doing great right now.
He is doing
I'm
great.
so
okay.
proud of you. He took off his "Please be patient, I have autism" hat for this. Okay. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. That is a +3.
+3.
Just because,
absolutely.
and it's funny because it's not even because they're controversial.
no.
I believe that things are only controversial because that is what public opinion makes them to be.
Yep.
So most of the time, things that are controversial are pretty boring nowadays. And
I
that
will
may just-
say-
that's a me take. Really quick before we go any further, retard. Okay, there we go.
I will say a +3. Because like I do agree that there are certain things that need to be like forgotten and left aside, and like come on, like
Not forgotten, but learned from.
learn
Josh,
from.
You already
and
know.
You know, yeah, you know. I'm yeah.
You know,
but
I know.
absolutely, because like I believe that things are only controversial and they are only labeled as such because you can't talk about that. Oh, we can't discuss this, or like like we aren't allowed to think that way. But why?
An idea only has power over you in most cases if you allow it to. There are exceptions to the rule,
Understanding.
always, right?
You have to understand.
But controversy is generated inside the mind and brewed by the people. So most of the time, if we don't allow things to have power over us, obviously with exceptions, we can overcome those controversies. And maybe we can find solutions to things that are problematic or bad, but we have to talk about them. We have to
talk about
We have
them.
to fucking figure it out.
Let's hash it out.
Always, Wyatt.
I +3 all the way. Good example of what you guys
Retard.
were just saying. No, not retard. Speedy Gonzalez got canceled for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And
3
you
months?
know, yeah. Well, it was like 3 months.
That's longer than Justin Roiland got canceled,
I
bro.
mean, yeah. He was canceled for like 3 months, and you know who brought him back?
The Mexicans.
Exactly.
Because they loved him. They loved that
because
guy.
they
Yeah.
loved him. They
Dude,
were
he wears a
so-
sombrero. What's not to
Yeah.
love?
Yeah, he
They were
eats,
so pissed.
Cheese. He does eat cheese.
Yeah.
He's like-
Mouse.
And people
That's
who
also
canceled
racist.
him.
The mice canceled him.
The
Oh my
mice.
god, the mice and the Mexicans. They both love him.
Yeah,
They both start with M.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Coincidence?
I think
think
not.
not.
Love that.
Jinx. Okay.
Wow.
You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more.
That's a hard one. That's actually one of the hardest questions that I've had to think of. I will say I am neutral because it is case dependent, right? And I am not one to judge someone's deservingness of something that is better, but at the same time, that's life, right? So neutral, because I can't say, like, without being put in that situation, how I would respond. That's actually a very difficult question.
I can actually answer that, but go ahead, Wyatt. I'll let you.
I put +1 purely. I think I've said purely too much on this podcast.
Nah.
We've all been
nonsense.
saying words,
Yeah,
bro.
same
Nonsense.
thing. Just technically everything we say is words, Cameron.
Not true. Listen to this. Is that a word?
It could be.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Growing up with a lot of siblings, it was always like, can they benefit from it more than me? If so, they get it. But also,
My little brother needs a winter coat more than me. I will freeze and potentially lose a few fingers for the winter if he can survive.
Is that you?
He said only +1, right?
yeah, only.
So no, definitely not.
Yeah,
fuck that
I wasn't
Fuck
all the
him.
way like that, but I just,
I
won't lose
a couple limbs. No.
like
I'm keeping
like,
all my fingers.
like a good example is a position opened up at work for like something, and me and another person in the warehouse are like, oh yeah, we're gonna jump on it. And I said, you know what, I want that person to have that job more, purely because I feel like they're more qualified, they enjoy it more than
I think
am,
that's a different
and I just let 'em have
concept.
it.
I would,
Yes and
but,
no.
yes and no, but okay. So I put +2
Okay.
because So one, I won't go +3 because you need to, understand your own needs and you need to put yourself forward and you need to be okay with doing what's right for you, even if it's not necessarily right for others, right? There needs to be a certain aspect of that. However, if you're living life properly and you're living within your means or whatever, like for example, me, you know what I mean? And actually why I brought up a great example of, somebody getting a position, getting paid more or whatever.
Yeah, big
right?
deal to most people.
Big deal for a lot of people, right? And like there was a point in my life where it was a big deal to me, and like you were a part of it whenever, like, because again, Cameron, you used to work for the same big mega corporation as me. The Megacorp. And there was a huge, revamp, and they gave everybody pay raises where they matched people who had been there for X amount of years, whatever, it doesn't matter. And people lost their shit. Right?
Dude, I remember this vividly.
People lost their shit.
Yeah, man.
Right? And I'm like, how fucking selfish.
I agree.
How selfish to be mad. Like, one, they're making more money too. So again, like some people got 60-cent raises while others got $3 raises. You're making more money. How on earth can you justify being mad that there are other people who are making more money too?
Yeah. A rising tide generally raises all ships. And
Right.
Not only that, but it is very selfish because you are essentially equating your life to more than theirs, or your value to more than theirs
Right.
at that point. And sometimes it doesn't come down to the dollar amount that you're being paid. It's just life,
And exactly.
It doesn't have anything to do with your intrinsic value.
And we don't need to unwrap this too crazy. We don't
No,
need to
but
venture
that's
into the
real.
weeds.
That's
But
very real.
absolutely. So this is a real example. And again, I will tout this to everybody, is you do not need to. Why does it matter what somebody else is making? Why does it matter? Why does that matter? You need, and it goes back to something that we've already talked about, is you need to be the person that you want to be regardless. Yeah. Like, I don't care if I'm making minimum wage or if I'm making, 6 figures a year. Mm-hmm. I am going to perform the same, and I'm going to do exactly what I feel is happy with, what I'm happy with in my position, and I'm going to work my hardest. And I will. And if you get paid more than me, So again, to unwrap this a little bit, I will tout that I will always be the hardest worker in the room. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. I will always not outperform, but I will always outwork you. Dude. And I will never get mad at you for not working as hard as me.
Even if you make more.
And
that's the thing, right? Because that has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
And I love that.
And again, and I've talked about this in past podcasts and stuff. I own my house. I own my vehicles. I have a pretty damn good life.
This is turning into Dude Bro podcast.
I
right
know,
here.
and
I have equity.
That's not
on
what
my house.
that's not the point that I'm trying to make.
I'm investing.
That's not the point that I'm trying to make.
I keep. Continue.
I know, and I know that you know.
Continue. I love you. I'm just staving off the comments.
I know. You're yeah. So,
hey everybody that think this is Dude Bro podcast, fuck you.
Fuck you.
This is not Dude Bro podcast. We can talk about how good our life is. It does not mean that we are better than you.
I own my house. I own my vehicles.
Wow. Can't believe you just said that. Wow.
Making $13 an hour.
Dude.
And there are some people, and again, I'm not saying I did it by myself because I'm married, and I've made decisions, and I'm happy with those decisions, and I think I've made the right decisions. Dude. But I own my house. I've owned my house for multiple years, where there are people who make 3-4 times as much as I do, and they're barely looking at a house. They're barely making these decisions, and they're barely doing these things.
Dude.
And that's the thing, is if you live within your means, and you make those decisions, and you live modestly, you can have a pretty damn good life, even at a lower. Okay,
that's bars.
Sorry.
No, that's bars.
Wait,
that's bars.
He says live modestly as he's like bragging.
I'm not bragging.
He's not.
I'm not.
It's a low-key flex.
It's a low-key flex, but
yes.
again, it just
okay.
Yeah.
I have spent $600 on Valorant skins
in 2 months.
In 2 months, we are on the home stretch of questions.
That was a huge tangent.
I'm
and
living
I
within my
apologize.
means, bitch. Okay,
exactly.
So home stretch. Last 2 questions. We're gonna zoom through these because we also have to go through our answers, or at least our results. You struggle with deadlines. I'm going to say -3.
-3.
Because I used to, or more or less. but I don't anymore, period. If something needs to get done, it gets done immediately, period.
Absolutely.
The end.
Giving
The
me a deadline
end.
makes it easier for me to get it done.
Wyatt,
To agree.
to agree?
Positive 2.
You still struggle with them,
I do.
but not
I s-
as much as you could.
As soon as you guys started saying about like if giving a deadline makes it easier, I'm like, facts, bars. And so I took it from a 3 to a
bars.
2 because I'm like, if someone gives me a deadline, it'll get done by then.
Fair.
But it's gonna be getting done the night before.
Yeah, you already said the procrastination
right.
thing. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, this one I think does not need very many words.
No.
I like this. This is a great way to end too. It's a beautiful question.
Yes.
Okay, and I want to know everyone's answers honestly. You feel confident that things will work out for you.
Positive 3.
I'm a positive 3.
Positive 3.
Aw,
Absolutely.
you guys.
All right, so it does ask your gender. I'm putting male. Just for that, it is optional, but I am putting male because I am male.
Yeah, I want to see my avatar.
It's the same.
Mine's the same.
Mine's the same. ENFJ.
And I am still an ENTP, baby.
Yep, absolutely.
So, for anyone that doesn't know, I will not go too far into this because these are easily Googleable. It is the debater personality.
Mine is the protagonist.
Protagonist. We love that. Wyatt.
ENFPT.
Dash T.
Dash T.
What is
You
it?
are
We're not
ENFP.
focusing on the secondary, the T. Well, and we can divulge just a little bit. We can go into
Ooh.
the little bit of detail.
You're
but
a campaigner.
the
I
campaigner.
like that.
which-
I like
and
that.
what was yours? Yours was the debater. You said?
Debater. Still.
Mine's the
After
the
all this
protagonist.
time, I'm
God,
still the
that's-
debater.
That's so interesting that we're all 3 different personalities,
Okay.
but we're meshing so well.
So hit the next button, and
Yep.
this one will not go into too much. We don't have to read the articles. I want to get the
Right.
percentages though.
Right.
Okay. I am 86% extroverted.
78% extroverted.
61% extroverted.
I am 86% intuitive.
79% intuitive.
87% intuitive.
Oh, Wyatt's the most intuitive out of all of us. I am 52% thinking.
I am 68% feeling.
Wow.
I'm 53% feeling.
Wow. I'm the
that's
only
actually interesting.
thinker.
Yeah.
Interesting. I am 56% prospecting.
60% judging.
64% perspecting.
Wow, you got a big prospecting.
Wow.
I am 81% assertive.
I am 100% assertive.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
That's impressive.
He's Spock.
Wow.
The
I think
further,
Spock
further
is
the
technically.
cast-
Yeah.
He might not be an ENTP.
Zero.
He probably is.
Go ahead.
I am 60% turbulent.
So 0% turbulent, 100% assertive.
Wow.
Cool.
Dude.
And I think that's it.
I think those are the main things.
But there should be like an option where it shows people who are also share this. So again, if you scroll down, it'll show like debaters you may know, protagonists you may know, blah blah blah.
These are just general personality types that align with yours.
Exactly.
And I highly recommend taking this test. It does not
do.
take nearly as long as we took.
Well, yeah, it's because we were talking about it and we were having conversation. It was a good time. I really enjoyed this.
I can recommend this experience. Great time.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'll go first. Debaters you may know. I'll list off a few. Weird Al Yankovic. That's
Makes
one.
sense.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it just does.
It does.
Like, you don't
It
even have to
does.
say why.
Yeah.
Adam Savage from Mythbusters.
Okay, that does make sense too.
Mark Twain.
Really?
Really,
Okay, that
yeah.
does make sense.
Interesting. Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Thomas Edison.
Oh.
I didn't like him. He killed elephants or whatever.
He did to show the differences
guy.
between DC and AC.
So this is my favorite, though. There are two that I really like because this is one that I'm familiar with. I think I even covered a few of these on the last pod. Sacha Baron Cohen, the dude who plays Borat.
Yes, you did talk about this.
That may be one of my favorites. And
Absolutely.
then the other favorite that I have is the Joker.
Yes, you did mention that too. And
Yeah, that's the
actually-
one that I mentioned
okay,
on pod.
So going into mine, it's something that I mentioned last time, and I couldn't remember who got who because, again, me and my wife took this together. And again, if you are in a relationship, I highly recommend it. Taking it with your partner and discussing it and talking about it, whatever. But protagonists you may know: Barack Obama,
Hell yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, John Cusack, Ben Affleck.
Affleck, like the insurance company.
Affleck, whatever. Is that how you pronounce it? Affleck?
Affleck.
Affleck. Malala Yousafzai. And I like how there's like a little, it's the only one with the parentheses, why? Question mark.
Yeah, why?
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 Jennifer Lawrence.
Interesting.
Sean Connery.
All right.
Maya Angelou.
Wow, you got a list.
Daenerys Targaryen.
Love that. She's not the protagonist of that show. No, I'm just kidding. She might be.
Dude, yeah, this keeps going. I don't know how far we're going to go, but...
Name the highlights, bro. Highlights.
Okay, Morpheus.
Ooh, good one.
The Oracle, also from The Matrix.
Wow. Okay. How'd they decide that?
I don't know. Okay,
I
so,
see two really good ones on Wyatt's, but I'm not going to spoil them
Yeah,
yet.
Skylar White.
As opposed to Skylar Grey.
Exactly. And if you're familiar with the Bone series, Sealy Booth.
Love that. Those are
Yeah.
good characters.
Good characters.
All right. And people, real life people. Wyatt, who you got?
So I'm gonna start backwards and move forward because I'm really like I agree with Cameron. I'm kind of like that's cool.
I see.
It
some
is
great,
neat,
I see
isn't
some
it?
great names
Yeah,
already
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I don't know the first person I'm gonna name off, but Kim Namjoon.
He's a either a K-pop or J-pop star. He's got to be.
Okay.
He must be. I don't know.
Fact check us on that one.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
The third to the last is Quentin Tarantino.
Question, Wyatt.
Fuck. How do you feel about feet?
Absolutely. How do you like? Do you like feet? Be honest.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not a no.
I mean,
that's
it's
not
not
no.
a no, but it
Hey,
depends on who's.
I think we've had this conversation. I'll stick a toe in my mouth.
Hey, yo.
I won't.
Okay, well then you don't.
He
feel,
won't not.
Yeah,
I think.
I think so too.
Keep going.
So, Robin Williams.
Fuck
Yes,
yeah.
I love
I've
that.
always seen this guy as like, oh, that guy's so cool.
Yeah,
We love
that's
that.
perfect. I love.
And
that.
then finally, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Robert Downey Jr.
yes,
All I'm
we
saying
need to
is
get you
that-
on some drugs, Wyatt.
Well, or not. We can skip that part, I think.
Yeah.
I think that we're all destined for greatness is
I
what
think
I'm
so.
learning.
Yeah.
Although, even though like millions of people have taken this test and gotten similar
The
results.
same results exactly.
But, goddamn you guys. This was a ride.
This is great.
I feel like we all learned. We all
I do.
grew.
and
we
like,
all expressed ourselves adequately.
I
In a way
agree.
that was
I
in a way that
agree.
was on brand for
and
ourselves.
also absolutely, and like we challenged each other. We talked about it, and like absolutely, it was a great time.
And if anybody wants to take this test, 16personalities.com. That is the number 16 personalities spelled normally.com.
Myers Briggs as well.
Can recommend.
MEYERS.
If you need to give it a Google, give it a
BRIGGS.
Google.
Give it a Google. You'll find it.
You know what you should also Google? This segue to our sponsor. It's nobody. Because nobody's sponsoring us.
no,
you
no,
can
no.
have this. You can have
It's
this.
our Patreon, which will
yeah.
be up. Hey, if you support us and you want to see more of this, and hey, we love you. And if you don't, that's fine. Just listening to us is amazing. We love you. But hey,
We're going to get shit up for you. We'll have some links.
if
very,
you want
very
to,
soon.
if
Love
you
you.
want to, Love
But
you.
that's reserved. That space right there is reserved for our sponsor.
Which
And
is us.
That could be
Oh.
no wait.
Oh.
That could be you. So come sponsor us.
Hey,
Love you.
Wyatt, look at you doing some reach out for us. Outreach on the pod.
Outreach, PR.
Fucking love it. Plug it in. Follow us on Instagram at oh boy.
He's
I
pulling
know
out
my
his
Same
phone.
page LLC.
Yeah, I'm like, which one is our Instagram? I don't even know.
I don't know.
You
I-
can find our link tree from there, so that's all I'm gonna give you.
JB does the thing.
Yeah, you don't even have to find it. It is Same Page Productions LLC.
You'll find us.
You'll find us eventually if you look up Same Page Productions. We love you guys a ton. This was actually a very large undertaking. It is
Yeah,
very late right now.
it is.
I am full of gin and other various liquids. And god damn, it was a good time.
And
I
it was
hope
a
you
ride.
guys enjoyed the ride as well.